The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome into a Monday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. Got a good show for you today. We're going to recap all the weekend's action, get you ready for soccer and volleyball tournament action this week, and then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the football Week 12, next round of the playoffs as well. But before we do all that, we have a very special guest joining us today from Champion Girls Soccer, who's getting ready for a regional matchup tomorrow against Norway. And it is Maylee Nadowd from Champion. Maylee, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
And what a freshman season you have been having so far this year. 20-0. You've had over 20 goals this year. What's it been like coming onto the varsity program as a freshman and seeing so much success right off the jump?
I mean, it's really crazy. I didn't think it was going to be like that good. I mean, obviously we were going to do good as a team, but it's definitely great. Like being able to play with all of my friends and just achieve all these goals that we set.
Let's rewind back to the start of the season, first varsity game, first time you step on the field as a freshman. What was that like for you, and what were the nerves like?
I was definitely really nervous because I didn't want to make any mistakes, but I mean, the whole team was nervous, not just me. Like, yeah, but we were pretty chill. I mean, we were excited.
How fast did those nerves go away once the game started?
Pretty quick because we got into the game and focused, and we were ready to play.
All right, so there are a lot of young players on this team, but there's also great leadership. You have a good senior class, a couple upperclassmen to sprinkle along there too. What's it been like for you as one of the younger players that has really had a lot of success this year to learn from the upperclassmen that you have?
They're really good teachers, especially the seniors because they've been there the longest. So, like, if I make a mistake, they're always there to, like, help you. And, yeah.
What are some of the biggest forms of advice or biggest things that the seniors have taught you this year?
If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. It's in the past. And in the future, you can fix that mistake and do things that are better than that.
And now we talked about the first game of the season. You fast forward to a great district run where you win the championship. What was it like for you when you finally got to celebrate that 2-1 victory over Poland, and you had to have that moment with your team where you realized that you're district champions and you've completed that goal?
There was definitely so many different emotions. I was just really excited, and the whole team was just so happy to win because last year they got bumped out. But to make it this far, the team was really happy.
How does this season compare to maybe what your expectations were at the beginning and some of the things that you thought you might go throughout the year? How does, now that you're in the districts and you're in the regionals, how does that compare to what you thought it was going to be at the beginning?
My expectations were kind of the same. I figured that it was going to be like this because I had a lot of faith in our team, and we were all pretty confident, and we went in thinking that we were going to do it, and we did it.
I got to tell you, we announced that you were going to be on the show about an hour ago, and we have a ton of views right now. You're getting so much support from the champion community. What's that like for you to be embraced by this athletics community at Champion and to feel the support of the community behind you?
The support is great. It makes me feel a little less nervous.
What is kind of your message to the Champion fans that are watching right now and getting ready for supporting you guys on regionals tomorrow in Boardman?
Thank you for the support.
Let's talk about your soccer journey. When did you start playing the sport? What are some of your first memories that you have on the soccer field?
I started playing soccer when I was 3, and then I got into club around like age 6.
3 years old. Let's go. That's what I call an early start. When did you start to fall in love with it though? When did you kind of realize that soccer was something that you wanted to focus on, put a lot of time into, and to try to be the best soccer player you could be?
As I got older, rec just kind of got like a little boring, and I wanted like more of a competitive game, and that's when I found SVA.
Yeah, you play for SVA. We talked to Grayson a little bit ago today, who also plays for SVA. What's it like being a part of such a successful soccer club, and what does that do for you coming into high school season?
It definitely prepares us like for the club players that do play high school. It prepares you for the game because like the fast play and just being able to like see the field before you're on it.
You had a heck of a summer with that team, and we got to talk to a couple of your SVA teammates during that run that you guys had. And there's a lot of local talent on the team. What's it been like this year to play not just with some of your teammates that are on Champion, but also play against some of your teammates that pop up across the way on the other local teams?
It's really fun playing against them. It's obviously really like tough because like they know your play, like they know how you play. So it's difficult, but it's really fun playing against them.
Does it fire up the competitive juices a little bit more when like one of your good friends is on the other side of the field?
Yeah, um, yeah, we get at it a little bit on the field. It's really fun.
What do you think the biggest difference is between the club game and the style of play that you see in SVA versus high school?
Definitely the speed of play and maybe like the competition, just like a little like club's just a little bit more competitive, but I would say high school is too.
When we talk about this season for Champion and we look at the goal differential of you guys have been blowing out a lot of teams. You got into a tight game in the district championship. So I'm wondering from your point of view, what was it like to be pushed and to have to bounce back from some adversity and to really be in a game where every play mattered and every little mistake was magnified? What was that like for this team and how were they able to, get through it after so many games this year where you didn't have to be in those situations?
It was really rough, but we got through it, and even if we made a mistake, we kept our heads up, and our coaches like stayed on us, and they made sure that we were doing our job and getting the job done.
You've had a couple of days now to compress and get ready for regionals. What's that been like transitioning from celebrating district to now getting ready for your next opponent in regional?
We're practicing and staying focused and getting ready for our next game so that we come out with a win, hopefully.
Okay, so you're undefeated your freshman year. The question is, how do you top it? Like, how would you go on and the next 3 years top what you have already accomplished this year?
I don't even know. I just keep the same mindset we have this year and just stay positive and keep our heads up like we did.
Did you have any personal goals that you kind of set for yourself coming into this year that you wanted to accomplish before the freshman season was over?
I don't really have a personal goal, but I definitely had a team goal for all of us is to get as far as we got and win.
And you're still kicking, and we love it. Let's talk about some pregame routines. Are you superstitious? Do you have routines that you stick to on a game day?
I don't think so. I usually just get changed after school, and then I don't know. I drive with my sister to the game, and then we sit in the concession stand for a little bit, and that's it.
What do you do to like get yourself in the right mindset? Are you someone that likes to listen to music? Are you someone that likes the non-music and likes to sit in silence and get yourself in the right mental zone? What do you do to get ready for a game?
It's probably a mix of both. I'm not really like a big music person, but my sister makes game day playlists, so I just listen to random music on there.
What is that game day playlist from your sister like?
Just like hype songs,
Mhm.
just like pump us up.
We got to talk about your sister, and obviously this year has been extra special being with her and being able to be on the team with her. What's that been like for you? What's the dynamic between you two?
It's definitely a great opportunity to be able to play with her, and she's just such like a big role model that I look up to because she's a great player.
You've known for a while that it was in a lineup where your freshman year was going to meet up with her, senior year this year. What was it like leading up to this year? Like, okay, we're going to play together next year. We're going to play together in 2 years, and the conversations that you guys had, in the last couple of years leading up to this season.
I was like nervous at first because like she's really good, so I was like, well, I have to like meet those standards. But I'm kind of like sad now that because this could be her last. This is her last year, and it's my first year, so I won't get to play with her next year.
You've definitely, I think, lived up to that standard for sure with the numbers you're putting up. What has been the key to your success this year?
Definitely the support from my team, my family, and my coaches.
What is the biggest form of advice that your sister gave you before the season started?
Stay strong. Probably just stay strong.
And like you said, next year she's going to be graduated and you'll have to be the only adult on the team. What's that going to be like for you to kind of continue that family legacy and try to live up to the standard that she set in her 4 years of soccer at Champion?
It's gonna be hard to like do because she's a really great player, and I can't be her because she's just great. So it's gonna be hard to look up to those standards. But yeah.
What are you going to miss the most about having her as a teammate?
Probably our practice days. Practice is the best with her.
All right, and now you have one more chance to extend her season and extend your season. What are the feelings heading into tomorrow? Like, are there still nerves or still butterflies, or are you guys feeling pretty dang confident heading into regional semis?
We're definitely there's probably like some nerves, but we're definitely more confident than we are nervous. We just have to go in focused and play our game.
One of the things I want to ask you about, we've talked about your sister, but what about your family in general? What do you think is so special to you about your family and the people that are so in your circle? And what do you think is unique about your family? What are some things that you find special about the family you have?
Probably that they're just really good supporters, like being those good sideline supporters.
Let's talk about your other support system. I want to give you the chance to kind of end this interview by giving a shout out to the people that have your back, the people that are always there for you. I want you to give as many shout outs as you possibly want to the people that you think deserve the limelight at the end of this interview.
I just want to thank my family, obviously, my high school coaches, and my club coach.
All right, Maylee, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today in the middle of your day. We appreciate it so much. We wish you the best of luck moving forward into the regional semis tomorrow, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you for having me.
You got it. That was Maylee Nadal, the freshman standout from Champion. You look at the numbers for this Champion team, and it's no wonder they're where they are right now. I had the chance to kind of look at them and look them up, the numbers. Their goal differential is astronomical. It's above 80 as a goal differential this season. And when you look at how balanced their offense is, yes, everyone talks about Taylor Kuhn. We've had her on the show. She's obviously phenomenal. She has the most goals on the team with 45. But then you have Maylee, who we just talked to, with 26 goals. You have Grayson Noski, who's a sophomore with 33 goals. And as a team, Champion, 131 goals on the year. And then the assists are really spread out too. I mean, Maylee, who we just talked to, 26 goals, but also 22 assists. So she's responsible for, what is that, 48 total goals when you count the assists. So to have a freshman year like that, and obviously sophomore Grayson Noski, who you guys will be able to hear from on tomorrow's show, as we interviewed her this morning as a pre-recorded interview. Those two make me believe that even though Champion is losing a really good senior class and probably one of the best soccer players in the area in Taylor Kuhn, I think they're going to be just fine moving forward with the young talent that they absolutely have. Very impressed. They will play Norway tomorrow in the regional semifinals. That game is going to be at Boardman High School. And the other exciting thing is it is going to be broadcasted by ysnlive.com. We had a sponsorship step forward to get that game up and running. So Champion fans out there, I know you're watching because you wanted to hear great Maylee's interview today, and rest assured that your regional semifinal game against Norway at Boardman is going to be sponsored and covered by ysnlive.com. So we can't wait for that. I think CJ Bako, who's been doing a great job for us, he's going to be the one on the call. And we're going to have a fun time. We are going to now go into our recap of the weekend. Obviously, we usually bump into our scoreboard at this point, but unfortunately, the scoreboard is already updated this week, so we can't really go back. And the next week, you go to the ysnlive.com/scores, you will find tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and what's going on this week. So I'm gonna bear with me as we go into just the scores that we put up on our social media page, and we'll get them all shouted out to you here. As we start with Mohawk in the regular season game that happened over Friday, the one regular season game on YSN. They were playing Neshannock. A lot on the line. It was a great matchup, great defensive game. But Mohawk falls to Neshannock 13-7, the final score there on Friday night. We can tell you that West Branch struggled a little bit early against Woodridge. This Woodridge team came out swinging. They had it tied at 20, but 2 late touchdowns for West Branch give them the win, 33-20, the final score there. The Warriors advance after a scare from Woodridge. Lowville, no scare from Steubenville Central Catholic. The Rockets get a 34-0 win over Steubenville Central. Southern, they fall to Malvern, a tough one, 35-20, the final score there. Southern Local is eliminated from the playoffs. We want to congratulate them on a very good season and wish them the best of luck in their future, especially the seniors that are going on to play, and hopefully basketball and baseball will see them soon. Lakeview, they had their hosting a playoff game for the first time, and they put up a fight, but unfortunately the 9 seed Sandy Valley came in and had a couple of late touchdowns in the second half. They get the win 42-21, the final score in Lakeview. But we congratulate the Bulldogs on a fantastic season, continuing to take steps as a program. I talked about that on Friday, continuing to take that next step. This is a team that a couple of years ago had back-to-back 0-10 seasons. So they turned around the program. They got people excited about it. The numbers are going up. And now all of a sudden they go from 3 wins to 4 wins to now hosting a playoff game as an 8 seed. So congratulations to Lakeview. What a great season. Keep making those strides. Keep making those steps. And maybe next year you can talk about being a team that at the end of the season is in the conversation for a league championship. Who knows? We go on to the next one. Ursuline gets the easy win over New Philly in round 1. A beautiful Stambaugh Stadium on the campus of YSU. The final there was 42-7. We go into Springfield beating Monroeville 35-21. The Tigers in the postseason, they're just a different animal. Pun intended right there. I am all about the pun, so you know it's intended. They are a different animal in the postseason. They know how to win. They're a culture that just knows how to win playoff games. You saw them last year give Warren JFK, who eventually went on to state, a very hard fight early in the playoffs because this Springfield team knows what it takes. They're well coached. They've seen the playoff success in years past. A lot of those players maybe not be on the team anymore, but I am a firm believer that ripple effects are a thing in high school athletics. You will learn from the people behind you. So this team still understands the standard of playoff wins. They still understand what it takes, and they got it done. They advanced into the next round, which I always to remember, like, okay, we're in the normal playoff. This is like where my brain is, like the normal playoff round. We're in where it all used to be 8 teams left in every region. Now that's where we are, which is technically what the regional quarterfinals, if you want to call them around. Best of 8 in each region. Middle Ridge all over Jackson Milton on the road. They took very, very good care of what Jackson Milton. 35-6, all Rams. That is technically an upset seed-wise, but when you look at the first matchup and the way the Rams played in it, maybe not an upset. eye test wise. McDonald made that trip to Mount Vernon. They fell to Danville 51-7, the final score there. Lisbon put up a fight for a little bit against Western Reserve, but look at this offense that the Blue Devils of Western Reserve eventually put up. 54-20. They get the win over Lisbon. They advance. Congratulate Lisbon on a really good season, a couple of really big wins for that program, and they're going to be good moving forward. Liberty put up a heck of a fight against Norway, and this was a game where everyone on the outside thought that Liberty was going to get just steamrolled and smashed, and that was not the case. They kept punching back at Norway, and eventually, though Norway's offense is too hard to stop, they couldn't really get enough defensive stands for momentum. And I think when we looked at the Power Hour Super Show, our announcers and our guys hit nail on the head. Like, hey, Liberty's offense can keep up with Norway. The question mark was, can their defense come up with the stops that they need to not make this a huge horse race? And unfortunately for Liberty, they just couldn't. They still scored 33 points on this Norway team. 56-33, the final score there. Liberty falls in the playoffs. LeBray, tough one against a very good Mogador team that's just like Springfield, just that playoff mainstay. I know they're not a YSN team, but I think we run into them every year. And even before YSN came into existence, it was always Mogador in the playoffs. Mogador in the playoffs. They're a rich tradition program that knows how to win playoff games, and they take care of LeBray 28-0, the final score in that one. We move on to Struthers. They beat Girard 21-16, a game that was as good as advertised. We knew this was going to be a good one. 6 versus 11. That's kind of one of those ones that could be good, could not be good, but when you're talking about inter-innate matchups, you just know it's going to be a good game. These two teams are very familiar with each other. The first matchup was extremely dramatic. This one, not as dramatic, like not a last-second walk-off victory, but still one of those games that you just know is going to be competitive, and it was. Two rivals going at it. Struthers comes out with the victory, 21-16, the final score in that one. You have to bear with me. I think I'm starting to get a little bit of a cold, so that's why I'm taking so many drinks to try to save off my respiratory stuff. I don't want to be coughing all over the show. 43-20, South Range gets the win over Fairless. And you look at this game, if you watched it on ysnlive.com, one, thank you for purchasing a playoff pass ticket for $9.99. We really appreciate you choosing YSN. Remember that one payment, just like last week, going to get you access to all the playoff games that we have on the network this week. But if you watch this game on YSN, Fairless came in swinging. They were not intimidated at all. I was really impressed with the way this game started for Fairless. They let South Range drive, and then they forced a fumble, a turnover. They avoided the first drive touchdown. It was close. But then again, South Range just always ends up being just a little bit too much for teams that are trying to fight them. And eventually the Raiders and that run game that is so good. I love the Raiders offensive line. I just love it. I think that is the most underrated part of their team because they're so well coached. I don't care who they're putting on there. I know they have some new guys on that offensive front, but every year they're so technically sound, and they get a really good push. They had really good gaps for their running backs to get through, and their running attack just eventually wore Fairless to a point when they couldn't go anymore, and South Range ends up with the runaway victory after a close start to the game. 43-20, the final score there. The Raiders get the win. Hoban, no problem in round one. We didn't expect them to have any, and they sure didn't. 35-7. They get the win over their neighbor in Akron Ellet. Edison falls in a tough one against Ridgeville, who will play South Range next. This was the game where the winner would go on to play South Range. 33-8, the final score there. The Wildcats in their season with that tough one. How about Niles getting the offensive show of the night? The high score of the night on YSN was the Dragons, 65-28. I think they came into this game knowing that they were going to have to score to win. Like, Edgewood was a team that they weren't going to stop completely. They knew the Warriors were going to find ways to score, and they did. 28 points for the Warriors. But the Dragons had just such a good offensive game plan, and they executed to perfection. And I think offense was probably one of the focuses. You know, they were like, our defense is good. They're going to get some stops. We're not going to shut this team down. Let's make sure our offense is so good that there's no way this Edgewood team can keep up with us. And that's what ended up happening. 65-28, the final score. Niles with the highest score of the night on YSN. Congratulations to the Dragons. They are moving on. Poland, all over East Liverpool. This one was Poland's from the jump, and Poland held control of it for the entirety. 42-12, 42-14, excuse me. The final score there. Poland gets the win, and they are moving on for another home game. Fitch gets the win as well, as they beat John Hay. They get the win there. Canfield, they go to Akron East and get a win. Garrettsville Garfield, they got a win as well, so they're moving on in the playoffs. And those are your wins for round one of the playoffs. Let's go over to our spreadsheet on YSN and see what these matchups are now for week 2 of the playoffs, which will be Friday, of course. That is going to be on November 3rd. Barberton is going to be matching up with Archbishop Hoban. So that's the round 2. It's going to be the Knights and the Magic. Austintown Fitch traveling to Walsh Jesuit. That's a mighty tall mountain to climb for Austintown Fitch. But if they play like they did last week, they're going to be just fine. Big one with Canfield at Ursuline. I think everyone expects fireworks out of this game. Obviously, the reigning state champion against a team that is this year's one of everyone's favorite to kind of get into state for area teams. Streetsboro coming to West Branch. The Warriors trying to get off to a better start than they did last week, obviously. This Rockets team, a very good offense. They can score with the best of them. Beaver Local found that one out the hard way against Streetsboro. Niles, they will go to Minter Lake Catholic as they earned a round 2 opportunity with their win on Friday. Struthers at Poland, that's another Indian matchup. This one came down in week 10 to a 2-point conversion in overtime. So if that tells you how good this game is about to be, then, you know, buckle your chin straps, buckle your seatbelts, whatever you're buckling, go ahead and buckle them up and get ready for this one, because Struthers wants revenge, and Poland probably looking at that game, looking at some of the mistakes they made, saying, hey, let's not make it this close, because it wasn't a clean game. There were turnovers on both sides. 28-27, Poland got that win. And remember, it was in overtime. It was tied at 21 after regulation. Poland scored in the first possession. Struthers answered. They came out, and they were going to go for it from the 2 for an extra point for a 2-point conversion. They were flagged for a false start. We're all watching the audible call. We're thinking, okay, but now they're just going to kick the extra point, take the tie, go into second overtime. But Coach Bayek, man, he was still just guts. He said, well, no, we're here to win the game. He pulled the Herm Edwards, really. We play to win the game. He sent his offense out there. I think they had a pretty good play design. They rolled they rolled the quarterback out. They had a pretty good, you know, receiver open in the end zone. Just could not complete the pass, and it was a good job by Poland's defense to lock down on that. 28-27, Poland gets the win because of that stop on the 2-point conversion. So what's going to happen this week, right? Like, they were so evenly matched. They both made the same kind of turnover mistakes. I think it's just going to be who cleans it up more, right? Who's going to be the cleaner team? Who's going to stay away from those mistakes that made that game? Maybe both sides probably think a little bit closer than it should have been. It'll be at Poland again, just like the last matchup was, and it's sure to be a very good one indeed. Garfield hitting the road. They will go to Harrison Central, the Huskies. We're pretty familiar with them on YSN because obviously East Liverpool Excuse me. I'm sorry about that. East Liverpool and Beaver Local both played them in the season. The Huskies with a beautiful facility, by the way. We were shown what the press box was going to be looking like and what our announcers are going to expect when they go call that game. And the digs in there. Props to Harrison Central. We love it. And in fact, our own Dom O'Brien is going to be the one that travels down there, and Chris Stigler. They'll both be down there in that beautiful press box for Garfield at Harrison Central. As we said earlier, Ridgewood traveling to South Range. Ridgewood after the win decisively over Edison. They are the 7th seed. They'll take on South Range on Friday. We have Cuyahoga Heights at United. That'll be a matchup that I think is going to be pretty dang good. Middle Ridge at Rootstown. Sorry. The Rams trying to get the second road victory in a row. Pymatuning Valley hitting the road to Mogador. Springfield going to Danville. And then Lowville goes to Western Reserve. So those are your matchups for the next week of playoffs. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartellin with another edition of Player Profile. This time we go into Akron Archbishop Hoban's volleyball team with their lone senior, Sophia Day. Sophia, how we doing? I think you just came home from a practice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I just got home from practice. Not too long.
You talk about this season, too. It's been crazy. Run me through those practices. What's one of those Coach Maloof practices like, without obviously giving away too much? Are they intense? Are they fun? What are they like?
Yeah, well, we start off every practice with a prayer, just to get us centered and focused for practice, and then we run laps, which is not our favorite, and everyone dreads those, but it really gets us moving and stuff. And then we usually work on our fundamentals, and then we go into teamwork. So it'll be like 6-on-6, and we'll just do different drills like that.
You talk about volleyball as a sport. I'm curious where it started. I mean, we're entering your final high school year of volleyball, but when did the first year of volleyball start for Sophia Day? What's some of your earliest memories?
I just remember my sister playing, and it looked so fun. I went to all of her games. So then, like, my mom actually started like doing clinics at my middle or at my elementary school. Like, she would organize all of them, and then I just kept on playing, kept doing clinics, and then it just went on from there.
What's like one of your best early memories in the sport too that is kind of like stuck with you? Do you have like one that kind of really made you fall in love with it and want to stick with it?
I remember it was like one of my first tournaments where I was actually like staying overnight in a hotel and traveling. And I was with like some of my best friends that I grew up with, and I was on their team. And it was just so fun to be able to like stay in a hotel and like have this whole like weekend trip just to play volleyball, and just seeing like how proud my parents were after also like how I played and stuff. It was just like really rewarding, and like I just knew that I like kept wanting to do it.
That was the foundational grounds of your volleyball career.
Yeah.
You take that into high school now, and I mean, going from freshman year to senior year, what was it like first and foremost going into freshman year and experiencing the high school experience of volleyball and developing yourself into where you are now as a senior? Kind of reflect on that.
Surprisingly, I had a lot of confidence going into high school. I thought I was really good. And I started my freshman year at Copley. And then I transferred to Hoban my sophomore year. So at Copley, I really liked it. I played on JV and varsity, and I just remember going in to play the varsity games, and I was so excited. And it just like every time I went in for like 2 points of a varsity game, I would just have that drive in practice to be like, next game I'm going to go in for 5 points, and I'm going to show that like my coach that like I deserve to be in for more time. And it paid off, and I got to start at the end of the season.
You look at senior season now, and you're the lone senior, and that doesn't happen too often on a squad. Talk about prior to this season going in as the lone senior. Was it intimidating knowing that you were going to be kind of the one everyone's looking at, or did you kind of take it head on and we're ready for that experience?
I think at first it was pretty intimidating just because I was like, whoa, this is a lot of girls to manage. I need to like make sure that everyone knows the time to be on the bus and all this. Like I have to like let everyone know everything on my own, and that was kind of difficult for me at first. And after like the first week, I really just stepped into the role, and it just like I just like took over, and it was honestly like fun to just like be able to like help out and stuff.
Well, I mean, you took that leadership role and you're obviously excelling at it to some degree. I mean, you guys are what, 23-0 right now. You're on your way to a district semis. Looking at this season, I can't imagine you can ask for a better senior season. Was this anything in what you expected? I know there's a lot of lofty goals on this team, but could you have expected this prior to the season starting for you?
Well, we lost a lot of really good players, and I was really nervous about that. Also, I was really nervous because all of those seniors were my best friends. So I was really nervous going into the season, what it would look like and how that would be without them. But honestly, like I've been having the best time, like becoming best friends with all of these girls. Like we have so much fun every day. And just that alone is like the best senior season I could have hoped for. And just all the winning on top of it just like makes it like so surreal and awesome.
This team in particular has so many different girls that can do so many different things really well. And I mean, you're at the top of the list in assists. You're over 430 right now on the season. You lead that team. What's it like being the centerpiece, the engine that kind of makes this offense go, having so many attackers to go to and kind of figuring out what they like, where they like it to? What's it like being the centerpiece of that offense?
Well, I really like it because I just feel like I understand how each player reacts to the ball and how they like it and how fast they like it. And I've just like really like become to know that with them, and I think that just makes it so like such a well-oiled machine because every piece is like in place, like, and it's just like the chemistry is there with everything.
Obviously, you're not going to give away all the secrets to the team, but put into words what makes this team so successful in your opinion.
I think every single practice we are learning something new and we are getting better and we are growing our IQ for the game. Our coach, he really like drives in. He's like every practice he goes, this is IQ time, and he tells us like certain things to make us be able to go faster or like something that we've been struggling on. He always like knows what we need to work on and how we need to perfect it, and we take what we learned in that day of practice and we put it in the game, and it works out for us really well.
And I mean, you talk about all the games that it's worked out for you. Is there a favorite match that you've had this season, or one that stuck out to you as like a memory to put in the senior scrapbook, maybe?
I think the Marlington game was my favorite game because it was so like intense. I just remember the refs not really being on our side and everyone was all fired up, so there was a lot of like animosity with that. And then every point was so back and forth, or we would be down a few or they would be down a few and then the other team would catch back up, and you just like couldn't stay off, like you were just on the edge of your seat the whole time, and it was so fun to be in.
I mentioned prior to about you being the centerpiece of this offense, and I mean the growth you've had from beginning of your career to now, and I mean look at what you're doing now with the senior season on this team. What's some of the things you've looked at looking back over your career from freshman year into now? What's some of the biggest things you've grown on in your position of setter too, and some things maybe you would offer advice wise to some younger girls playing that setter position and what to look out for as they grow in that position?
I think growing my IQ was like the biggest part that changed my game. And like you can be a really good athlete, but adding the IQ and like knowing like who to set, like what plays to run on free balls and stuff, um, like knowing where to dump the ball, like just little things like that, really can like change your game completely.
You look at your volleyball career at high school too. What is it like outside of it? Is there a club volleyball too that we participate in, or do you participate in anything, or do you kind of just chill after the high school season's over?
Well, usually I would play club, but this year, I'm not because I'm not going to play in college. So, but usually I played at Nova last year, and then every year before that, I played at ABC. So,
And I've talked to quite a few players that play at Nova, and it's quite an
yeah.
experience. What's that like? What was that experience like from your shoes, seeing that kind of competition and being able to play with it?
Going into Nova last year, I was so excited because I knew all the girls were local and they were really good. And it was really exciting to play with them because I grew a lot of friendships off that team that like literally every single game I go to, like I just like am so excited to see someone on the other side of the net because I've like played with them. Like I've played with girls from like so many different schools. And I think that at Nova, like there's such a family bond there, and it grows chemistry, and especially with girls on that were on my team at Nova, but they play at my school. And we would always practice with them, and that was really special for us too, to be able to have a club season together and a high school season together.
You mentioned that not being participating in volleyball through college, so this is the last hurrah for you as far as official sports are concerned. I know, obviously, looking at the other players, they all play with their heart out and they leave it all on the floor. But I gotta feel like for you, knowing that now you're in tournament time, now every match, every set could be that last one. Does that give you that extra kind of drive, that kind of energy going into these matches? That I mean, now you're playing for your playoff life.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it's like I've always said like when at my last club tournament in my last game I was like, "Oh, well, I still have high school season." And now it's like here and it's just like crazy. And it like even like my last home game me and my parents got super emotional because it was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is actually it because, like, this is all I really have left.
A lot of the girls talk so highly of you, though, too, and your leadership for the team. So you've definitely left a footprint and a mark. You've served as a role model for them. Looking for you, though, what has been some of your biggest role models inside and outside the sport?
I've played with some amazing setters. At Copley, I played with Audrey Keithley. She was a senior setter there. And then I played with Ellie Hardman at Hoban. And they were two incredible volleyball players, literally the best setters that I've seen, some of the best setters that I've seen in high school volleyball. And being able to play with them and see how they play and just like mimicking what they do in practice, like it just like made my game so much better, and having them to like as my role models and setting were just really good for me.
Are you a girl of routines for game day? Do you have like a whole game day routine, or do you kind of just like ad lib it, fly by the seat of your pants, just kind of whatever comes comes?
In the past years, I've kind of liked to just chill, listen to music, and like close my mind down before games. But this year, I find myself running around, make sure everyone's like in place, make sure everyone's at the court on time, like ready and like on schedule, like on the court when we need to be on the court, like shagging when we need to be shagging. So I think it's a little bit more hectic this year, but I still do like to like zone myself in before games and like just like really like focus my mind and like calm my mind because sometimes I can get like nervous, so I just like to focus myself before games.
You guys have had 23 wins this season. What's your favorite thing to do after a big win?
Well, after every single game that I've ever played, the first thing I always do is go and give my dad a hug. So that's how I always celebrate. And then I usually go home and as soon as I walk in the door, the game's already on the TV for my parents, and we go through it and we like get dinner or something at Chipotle usually.
I love it too. And I mean, for that routine for you to go and give your dad a hug too after every win, I mean, he's gotten 23 of them, so he's gotten quite a few this season. Is there a special bond there between you and your dad with this sport and outside the sport? What's that connection like with you and your dad?
Oh yeah, for sure. From like when I've started to now, just like this is his first introduction to volleyball, and just seeing how like he's like become to like know the game and understand it better than some of the players actually understand it is like crazy. And just like seeing how much like he supports me and actually cares enough to like be so intense and like into it is like it just like means a lot to me.
Sophia, I mean, we're all rooting for you here at YSM. We love what you've been able to do with this team this season. But let's look ahead a little bit. What's the future plans after high school? This is senior season, but it's also senior year for you. So what's the future look like for Sophia Day?
So I'm planning to go to a school probably in Ohio, either maybe Miami or Ohio State. Not sure yet though. And then I think I want to major in architecture. And that's pretty much all I got for now.
Hey, with your drive and determination, I guess you could say the day is bright, right?
Yeah.
looking at your season, though, I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better one. You are at the centerpiece of a very, very good volleyball team. I guess put a bow on this and just tell me some of your favorite memories of this season that you're going to hold and cherish forever.
Some of my favorite memories, well, senior night because I just felt so loved, and all the girls wrote me letters, and it made me so emotional just seeing how everyone, like, just everyone's words that they had to say. That was really fun. I won't forget that. Just our Walsh St. B games, those are very special to my heart. The Marlington game, that was a really competitive game. Yeah, those are my favorite memories.
Final thing for you, Sophia. We've been putting the spotlight on you, but I'm going to give you the chance to put the spotlight on anyone else. Give anyone else a shout out that's helped you along this journey or you feel like needs some recognition.
First off, my parents. They give me the most support in the world. all my coaches, especially Coach Maloof, he has changed who I am as a player completely just with how good he is as a coach. Mrs. Hardman, Ellie's mom, she would come up to me after every game and just give me a breakdown of things that I need to work on, and that made me a better player. All the girls I've played with, Amber, Kath, Macy, Madison, Skylar, Mary, everyone, literally everyone on the team has meant so much to me and has encouraged me and made me the player I am today.
Well, like we said with you, Sophia, it's been such a treat to watch you two. Such an honor to be able to cover you all season and watch this team become what it is. We're continuing to root for you, and we hope that you guys accomplish the goals that you set out since day one. And we'll be excited and cheering for you every step of the way. This has been another edition of Player Profile. This time with the lone senior of the Archbishop Hoban Knights volleyball team, the setter Sophia Day.
And that was Ty Bartell. We had the time, so we wanted to cap off the work he's done all season. That was the last interview that he did that had to be played on the show. Sophia Day, the lone senior from Archbishop Hoban, wanted to give Ty a big shout out for the interviews that he did this volleyball and soccer and football season. He did a great job, and one of the big reasons why we were able to highlight as many players as we are is because guys like Ty, guys like CJ Bako too, have stepped up and conducted interviews of teams that they cover. Hoban, Fitch, CJ did Howland Soccer, and he did JFK Soccer. So teams that they've covered, teams that they're familiar with. We thank guys like that for stepping up and being able to help us highlight even more wonderful athletes. That's going to do it for today's episode of Running Point. We thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope you had a good time here on a Monday to start your week off. Sad thing is there are no games on tonight, right? We're in that dull area where the regional semifinals are the only days where there are games, and we are down to just a couple of volleyball teams left, a handful of soccer teams left as well. So we look forward to seeing them succeed, hopefully, into the regionals. But tonight, no game. But what there is later on today is a power hour with Andy Hake, the head coach of the Valley Christian Eagles, and color commentator for DJ Oakley's South Range playoff game last week. So he's going to come on to the power hour. He's going to recap the wins and losses from the first round of the playoffs with DJ. So don't miss that, because anytime Andy Hake gets on the network, you know fun is about to ensue. And him and DJ have a great time talking with each other. So don't miss that power hour at 3 o'clock. 3 to 4, Andy Hake going to be on to recap all of the playoff matchups that we ran down the scores on here for Running Point. Tomorrow, we're going to have Grayson Noski interview play, another member of that champion girls soccer team that is having such a great year, 20-0, looking for a regional championship berth tomorrow night against Norway at Boardman. So we'll lead into that with an interview with Grayson Noski tomorrow. So stay tuned for that one. And have fun tonight and have a good night. Sit back, kick your chair up, take a breath, because basketball season's right around the corner. And we'll see you tomorrow on Running Point, 1 to 2 on ysnlive.com. As always, we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.